This thing all things devours, birds, beasts, trees, flowers, gnaws iron, bites steel, grinds hard stones to meal, slays kings, ruins town, and beats high mountain down.
Poor Bilbo sat in the dark thinking of all the horrible names of all the giants and ogres he had ever heard told of in tales, but not one of them had done all these things. He began to get frightened. Gollum began again to get out of his boat. Bilbo could see his eyes coming towards him. His tongue seemed to stick in his mouth. He wanted to shout out, "Give me more time!" But all that he could squeal was, "Time! Time!" Bilbo was saved by pure luck, for that, of course, was the answer. Gollum's frustration was now pure hatred. This time he did not go back to his boat. He sat down in the dark by Bilbo.
"It's got to ask us a question, my precious. Yes, yes, yes. One more question to ask. Yes,"
said Gollum. But Bilbo simply could not think of any.
"Ask us. Ask us,"
said Gollum. Bilbo pinched himself and gripped on his little sword. He even felt in his pocket with his other hand. There he found the ring he had picked up in the passage and forgotten about. "What have I got in my pocket?" he said aloud. He was talking to himself, but Gollum thought it was a riddle.
"Not fair, not fair," he hissed. "It isn't fair, my precious, is it, to ask us what it's got in its nasty little pockets is?"
Bilbo, seeing what had happened, stuck to his question.
"Sss," hissed Gollum. "It must give us 3 guesses, my precious. 3 guesses."
"Very well. Guess away," said Bilbo.
"Handses,"
said Gollum. "Wrong. Guess again."
"Knife,"
he said at last. "Wrong," said Bilbo, who had lost his some time ago. "Last guess." "Come on," said Bilbo. "I am waiting." "Time's up," he said.
"String, or nothing,"
shrieked Gollum, which was not quite fair, working in 2 guesses at once.
"Both wrong,"
cried Bilbo, very much relieved, and he jumped at once to his feet, put his back to the nearest wall, and held out his little sword. He felt he could not trust this slimy thing to keep any promise. At last Bilbo could wait no longer. "Well," he said, "what about your promise? I want to go. You must show me the way."
"Did we say so, precious? Show the nasty little Baggins the way out? Yes, yes. But what has it got in its pockets, eh?"
"Never you mind," said Bilbo. "A promise is a promise."
"Across it is, impatient precious," hissed Gollum. "But it must wait, yes, it must. We can't go up the tunnels so hasty. We must go and get some things first, yes, things to help us."
"Well, hurry up," said Bilbo, relieved to think of Gollum going away. Not far away was his island, of which Bilbo knew nothing, and there in his hiding place he kept a few wretched oddments, and one very beautiful thing, very beautiful, very wonderful. He had a ring, a golden ring, a precious ring.
"My birthday present,"
he whispered to himself as he had often done in the endless dark days.
"That's what we want now, yes, we want it."
He wanted it because it was a ring of power, and if you slipped that ring on your finger, you were invisible. Only in the full sunlight could you be seen, and then only by your shadow, and that would be shaky and faint.
"Quite safe, yes," he whispered to himself. "It won't see us, will it, my precious? No, and then its nasty little sword will be quite useless. Yes, quite."
That was what was in his wicked little mind, as he slipped suddenly from Bilbo's side and flapped back to his boat and went off into the dark. Still Bilbo waited, for he had no idea how to find his way out alone. Suddenly he heard a terrible scream. It sent a shiver right down his spine.